Alright, welcome back to another campaign playthrough. So this time we're going to be going through Rome 1 Total War. This is a remastered version. And it's been a little while since I've played this game, so it's going to take some getting used to. But either way, so we're playing as the House of the Julii. I think this is probably the, what would you call it, like the original faction that most people will play as. I believe this is who you are in the tutorial. And I'm playing on hard difficulty. The campaign difficulty is the only one that's going to count because I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the Medieval 1 campaign where I'm not controlling combat for the sake of time and also for the sake of not taking advantage of the AI and their poor mechanics and ability to manage troops. So the first mission is to capture this town of Segesta. We got 10 turns, so we might as well just go straight for it. Then I'm gonna want to get my diplomat moving. Send him up this way. And our spy up here as well. And our first opponent is gonna be Gaul. So, man, the UI is way different than it used to be. One of the first things I want to do is take a look at my generals. And I remember there's a way that you can, here we go. There's a way that you can edit the followers and move them around between generals. So the point of doing this is you have followers who will give stats. They're basically like items for your family members and your generals and whatnot. And you can move them between characters. So if you have someone who's managing a city, you usually want to give them items that give them management skill, bonuses to income, bonuses to farming, and things like that. Whereas if you have someone who's a general, you might want to give them drill master or something along those lines. So I'm going to have my faction leader as my general, which may or may not make sense. So let's find him first. He is, okay, this is him. So first off, let's have him go here. And we're gonna maintain the siege. I am gonna assault this place. I just wanna figure out how I wanna move troops around. Let's see, what can I get in there? Jeez. Okay, so I'm able to move that amount of troops out and still keep the public order here. Then we'll send these guys to join them. And I've got my main force there. There's also a way to, is this it? Resort the cards so that you have a more compact view of how your units are laid out. If you didn't notice, these cards were a bit jumbled, so it is not as easy at a glance to see what unit types that I had. Okay, now going back to the followers piece. I'm gonna try to do this quickly. So, Drill Master, I wanna send to, how do I do this? Drill Master, I want to send to this guy. So let's do this. I select him, and then I select this guy. And then he'll go to him. Okay, nice. That's what I was looking for. This is management. Age retainer. Why am I having trouble seeing this? Look, it's not giving me a good description here. Alright, let's try this another way. So, 1 management and 1 to personal security. It might make sense to keep this on my leader, but I don't think anyone's going to have assassins this early in the game. I don't think it's possible to get them until later. So we're going to send him to one of our generals. Who is in here? This is our capital. And this guy, Lucius Julius, is in here. So we're gonna go to him, and we're gonna have him take all of these type of guys. He's already with him. This guy's a merchant. This merchant is currently found. Maybe it's Julius. Can you put these guys on? You can put them on characters. Interesting. But either way, I'll take these 2 guys and I'll send them to our faction heir. And then we'll leave Quintus there. I might have taken a follower away from him, but that's okay. Now, as far as construction, how do I do this? Okay, we have negative income right now, so I do want to get a little bit of this. Now I'm getting a tax bonus because of one of the followers here, so I guess I might as well start with some trading. And I'm actually going to go for a militia barracks here. From what I remember, the barbarians tend to produce a lot of spear units early on. So when they're producing spear infantry, having sword infantry is a good counter to that. I don't believe they build much cavalry early. And even if they do, you can't get spear units for a while. I guess you could get velites, which are like spear throwers. They're kind of a skirmisher unit. You would need a practice range for that. But generally speaking, I think having a lot of hastati will be good early on. And do I have any other... I don't have any other military production buildings in either of these places. So that should be fine. Boats will leave as is. I moved all my agents. So I'm going to use this spy to kind of keep an eye on where the Gallic troops are moving around. And I'm also going to have him planted in the woods occasionally. I'm going to try to do my best to move them into the woods and see if they've got generals in ambush. And when I say that, what I mean is that if you're not familiar with the game, if your opponent has troops in a wooded area like this or a tile that has forest on it, there's a chance that they're going to be invisible to you. And if you enter a tile near them, it engages an ambush, which means they get to deploy however they want. Your troops start off with lower morale, and I believe they start off with lower morale and lower energy levels. And that's basically that. So we're gonna assault, and then I'll auto-resolve this. There we go, only took a few casualties. And then we have our next settlement. So when you take over the settlements, you have the ability to occupy, enslave the populace, or exterminate the populace. And you see the outcomes here. For me, I'm almost always going to occupy, especially early in the game. I'm not going to do either of these options until later. And the reason I do that is because you want your settlements to be able to grow, especially when they start off with a very low population like this. 900 is not a lot. And if you exterminate the people or disperse them amongst your other settlements, you're just limiting the ability for this place to pay off for you in the long term. So we'll get the governor's house. We got a pretty good amount of money. It looks like we got 10,000. Holy shit, that's a lot. So 10,000 for completing that mission. And is there anything else I'm missing? The UI, I gotta be honest, the UI is gonna be a little bit difficult for me to get used to, especially switching between games, going from medieval to this, but also going from the old version of Rome to the remastered version. I have not played remastered much, and it's been a long time since I did, so here's our first turn. All right, next mission is to take Corrales. So again, if you've not played this before, there's going to be situations where the Senate is going to send you missions. This is similar to, well, you know what, they don't have a mechanic like this in Medieval 1 Total War. The closest thing is when the Pope requests crusades from the Catholic factions, but I don't believe there's really much of a benefit, or like you don't get money, I don't believe, for completing those. I could be wrong on that, but it's less of a core mechanic, I should say. So let's set up a palisade here. And what else is going on? So, okay, this is the different followers moving around. Construction, okay. So, bring the boats over here. Got construction on the way. I think I do, right? Yeah, I did queue that up. Okay, so this is the queue. I feel like they should make it so that the options to construct are already right here. Oh, I guess this is for recruitment. Okay, so this is building and recruitment queue down here, and then you actually have to click on this part to get the options up. So we're going to move some of our forces, going to compact them, and then move some of our forces in. So I'll bring my faction leader with, can I move all these guys out and still maintain order? Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're good there. All right, another thing that I have not touched on, the game mechanics are going to be a lot different here than in medieval. Things are a little bit more nuanced. So population is a factor. I mentioned population earlier, but for anyone who's not familiar, population is going to change throughout the game. This was not in Medieval 1. You basically just have a base loyalty in Medieval 1, where here, this is going to fluctuate based on all these factors up here. So how many troops you have is the garrison. Law has to do with structures and whatnot. Happiness has to do with structures as well, I believe. Governor's influence has to do with your general or whoever you've got, family member, things like that are in there. Squalor has to do with population, I believe. I'm not sure what else influences this, but what's going to happen is there will be a dance that I'll do between public order, population growth, and income. And so you can increase the taxes, which is going to decrease population growth and decrease public order, but it will increase the income that you've got, right? So if I kick it up, basically gives me 180 more income at the cost of 20% public order and 0.5% population growth. So usually for me, I don't put the taxes up much in the beginning because I want the towns to grow. The more you increase taxes, the slower that's going to happen. And it's going to affect your tax base in the future. And also your ability to recruit, because as you recruit troops, you're going to have, population decrease in a town. So you got to manage that. You don't want to do all your recruitment out of one area because it might put a dent in the number of citizens you got. So you got guys on a boat. Where is this place I want to take? This mission is right here. Okay, so this is owned by Carthage, and they have a navy. So I can't just run in there willy-nilly. So what I'm going to do is, can I get boats here? I can. Can I train multiple? I guess you can only do one at a time. Move this boat over here. I'm going to train one more ship, and basically what I want to do is guarantee, I mean, there really is no guarantee, but I want to increase the likelihood that this fleet survives dropping off the troops and then getting back to harbor, and that when I've taken this city, I have boats still available to pick them back up because I don't want my faction leader getting stuck on an island. So we'll keep moving next turn. Alright, so Gaul had a spy in our capital. Now, I believe if a spy is within one of your, what do you call it, one of your towns, they decrease public order. So you can kind of cause chaos in other factions' towns by putting a spy in them. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. I mentioned this earlier. This guy, you see how his model is on one knee? He's on a forest tile. Might be a little bit hard to see it, but there's a tree there. So this guy is laying an ambush. Now I'm not too worried about that right now because I'm attacking down here, not up here, but that's something I want to keep in mind. Also, I'm going to do some recruitment because it's possible that me not having many troops on the mainland is going to make me a target for the Gauls to attack. So I'm going to get some Hastati going. I honestly don't feel like it's worth training Town Watch. I might be making a mistake by doing that, but for now I'm not going to do so. And then we got some construction to take care of. So, how's the income? There's a way to break down. All right, we're getting 324 trade. How do you? I feel like there's a way to see that. Oh, okay, it's right here. So, what does this do? 20% bonus on trade income. What does this give? 10%. So it's going to give me 10% more, which is not a big difference. I can get a merchant though, and it'll give me some population growth. But I think what's probably better for me to do right now is get a blacksmith. I'll get some better quality troops. I'm gonna be pretty military focused early on in this campaign. Go for a land clearance, which is gonna give us income and population growth. And then here we've got our third boat. Now what I'll do is drop these guys off here. Yeah, they don't even have walls there, so I'll be able to assault that right away. Okay, and then these guys. Yeah, okay. Move there, and then I'll do that next turn. I'm not sure if I click yes, if it's going to declare war immediately, and then they'll have a heads up that I'm on the way. Alright, so we got construction queued up, we got recruitment set, everything found, agent found. Okay, that was the spy that was over here. Brudi are at war with the Greek city-states. Okay, all that we're aware of. Now, in case you're not familiar with this game, the purple faction is the Senate. It's the Roman Senate. So they are basically the head of all three other states. So we're playing as a Julii, we're in the red. There's a Scipii, which is the blue guys. And there's a Brudii, which is the green guys. Generally speaking, the Brudii are going to expand towards Greece. The Scipii are going to expand towards northern Africa. And we're going to be expanding into basically modern day France. And so that is kind of what you can expect for the Roman factions, and we all are allied by default. So that is another thing. Now we've got our barracks set up here. I'm gonna go for a port, get us some more income, and we'll train some Hastati. We'll train more Hastati here. Got the blacksmith going. All right, so we're set on construction and whatnot. Forgot to move my diplomat. I want to see if I can find Dacia. Dacia is one of the barbarian factions, and I'm going to look to get map information and trade rights from them. And then our spy will just keep him hanging around here. Actually, I'm going to track, let's see. Let's track this guy, see what he does. I am a little bit worried about them moving over here, so let's do that. Everything else will stay the same. Get these guys in port. The purpose of putting the ships in port is that they cannot be immediately attacked by pirates or rival fleets. Here we go, going to war with Carthage. And we're going to do an outright assault. He doesn't have much of a garrison, so there we go. And same thing as the last city. We're just going to occupy it. Reorganize our troops, and then we'll be able to do some construction here. So so we'll go for walls to start. And so, all right, there is a road leading up to the port, or what will be the port. All right, now this is another thing I gotta keep in mind as I'm taking over enemy settlements. When you see this down arrow, what this means is that these structures were made by another faction that's a different culture than you. And when you have structures that were created by another faction, they give you a decrease to public order. So let's see, if I click on the details, I believe we'll see this culture penalty, 50%. I believe all of that is made up of these three buildings. Unrest has to do with me recently capturing the place, and this will go away over time. But this, I believe, will only go away if I wreck these structures or if I upgrade them to basically be renovated under my culture. So when you're taking settlements from barbarian factions and Greek cities and things like that, that's something to pay attention to. Now, I'm just about at the 20-minute mark, so that's going to be the end of this episode. So now that we're at war with Carthage, I got to keep an eye on the seas because there's a potential that they'll go and try to blockade the ports that I have. This will turn into a port eventually. I'll be able to trade and produce boats from here. And so there's going to be potentially some naval combat going on in here. Maybe not in the near future, but as the factions build up their fleets. And then I'm going to move our faction leader, Flavius Julius, up to the mainland, and we'll have him start fighting against the Gauls. So anyways, that'll be that for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.